Every week, Joe comes on and we talk about a great reoccurring theme, being grateful, being mindful, being appreciative,
Yep.
and really, when things are really crappy, just digging deep. It's about to get real hard for a lot of Americans. Jobs, a lot of states are locking down on forced mandates. The frustration from the hypocrisy, like your governor just got caught, forcing people to stay home, but now he went to go dine at one of the most highest rated restaurants in the world, and it just been, oops, my bad. What you're advocating, and I got to push you a little bit today. There's going to be a lot of people who are like, yeah, that's great, Joe. We don't, F this. I don't want to be appreciative for what I have when I'm constantly having my head forced down in the dirt here. What are people going to do when when the noise, the external noise of what's going on, the politics, the election, the governors, the coronavirus, it's overwhelming. Can you really ask people just to sit back and go, hey, be appreciative for what you have? And, it doesn't matter that you're out of money and your world's falling apart and this and that. I mean, we got to get into this real hard today. What are people going to do?
It's a great question, and you're bringing up all great stuff. The thing of it is it can always be an apocalypse depending on your perspective. So for me, this is a walk in the park because my wife died in 2016, and that was my apocalypse. And so therefore I was crushed. I was just devastated into smithereens because of what was value to me the most was gone. Okay. So then after that, I learned all these things as we have discussed throughout these months now, but it's about perspective. All this stuff is always happening to some degree. It really is. And if you don't believe it, look at history. It's happening all over the place. Now, yeah, it's thick, and we're in the thick of it, and there's a lot going on, but it's about our perspective. We have a choice whether to react to all this stuff in a good, compassionate, patient way or in a bad, toxic, negative way. I'm not asking people to do anything. I'm telling them to decide for themselves what kind of quality life you want to live, because you're not escaping this circumstance. You can let it crash down on you and let it just bury you, or you can rise above it. Because whatever it comes, once we get out of this, there's going to be another election. There's going to be other stuff that's happening, and it's going to be incessant. So if you allow this to crush your spirits, that is a choice you are making. But you can invest in certain techniques, certain things to look at to rise above it and see yourself not only getting through, barely swimming in this crazy ocean of stress and anxiety, but standing on top of the waves, like just standing there with confidence, hovering above it, looking at it, learning from it, growing from it, testing yourself. You can use this as that platform to really grow.
Joe, we have a lot of people, our culture has been built on instant gratification. Yeah. And so like part of what I do is, I show people the old ways of making money, like 9 to 5 is gone. It's 9 to 9 now. Oh, yeah, it's been 9 to 9 for years. 5 days a week, work week, gone. 60 hours minimum anywhere you go. And it's going to change once again. Brick and mortar is going to start going away, especially in this time now. People don't see the fact that there's going to be a lot of people making a lot of money out there because the money doesn't go anywhere. The way it flows is just going to change. But people are going to be so scared, so stubborn that they can't see that right in front of their face. The same thing with instant gratification. We want solution now. Now, you're not asking people, but at every time, do you feel that maybe you need to just tell people that if you do not do X, Y, and Z, which is be grateful, be mindful, take a step back, that there's a possibility, not literally, but proverbially, that they will be a beat behind the movement because they're so stressed out. Like if you and I talk, if we're cheese selling and I'm so tense because I'm so worried about you hitting me, I'm always going to be behind the movement. Whereas if I relax and focus, I go forward. How do we apply that same concept to people in this massive panic time?
Dude, this is perfect. So what you're talking about is basically accepting or surrendering to your existence, to your life. Dominick and I talked like months ago. He's making business opportunities out of this. So am I. So are other people. They're saying this is the hand that's been dealt to us. I could sit here and cry over it, or I can try to make the most of it. I can turn this situation and the hand that I've been dealt into success, into prosperity. So it's a choice that you can make. So the things that I teach are not just so that you could sit and be Buddha at home. It's so that you can sit and be Buddha at home between being successful, between pursuing your goals and achieving them. Because guess what? If we don't adapt, we're left behind. Why do you think the weakest animal is the one that's left behind in the pack? Why do you think the weakest lion, male lion, never gets to mate? It's because of evolution. And if you want to adapt and evolve with humanity, this is a great time. I'm sitting here. I docked probably 30 states last year traveling to, a couple hundred hours on airplanes. I was out international 2 months, going to about 10 countries. Now I'm at home and I have a setup here because I need to spread what I'm doing and I need to adapt. So I'm buying equipment. I'm doing what I can. I'm seeing where there is a void and I am filling it. But I can't do that if I'm stressed, if I'm anxious, if I'm pissed off that the governor's doing this or the election went this way or that we have to wear masks or any other reason that I may be pissed off, because there's literally endless ones for us to be angry now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that. I don't have time for it. I'm focused individual. If you're a cop and you have to take in every single little negative thing when you're going into the hood on a call, you're never going to make it to the house where the call is supposed to be. So we have to be aggressive. We have to be confident and go forward. But when we eliminate the toxicity in our mind through mindfulness, through law of attraction, meditation, and healthy influences and getting ourselves stabilized in health and wellness and prosperity, we won't have to search for opportunity. It'll just come to us. We're actually manifesting it. So it's not like you have to sit there and just reinvent yourself. You have to find peace and prosperity within, and then that solution will come to you. The universe will give it to you on a silver platter if you implement the techniques that I speak and preach about, but also you're just relinquishing what is happening and you're surrendering, and that's a peaceful place to be. Dominick has said several times, he's like, I give up. I'm done. And he's like, I'm going to go smoke my cigar and I'm going to go work on my businesses and I'm going to talk to my people on my show. And he's like, I'm done. And people are like, yeah, but what about the vaccines? And what about this? And what about that? Well, dude, you're never going to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your circle? What is your little bubble of reality? What is your scope? You try to make that better. And there's all these techniques we've talked about, one show after the next. Meditation, mindfulness, taking time to uplift yourself, staying physically fit and well, healthy diet, rest, water, food, and influences. If we're just sitting there watching all the media for 3 hours, we're going to feel less than.
Right,
watching
right.
Housewives of Bravo. It's
Right.
not adding anything. So we do things that make us feel good. And all this stuff, all you're doing is you're building yourself up to be beyond circumstance, which is, and you're infinite at that point. You're always, you're the testament, you're the foundation, and the waves are going to come crash in and around you. It doesn't matter. You're unaffected. You're above the waves and you're succeeding and you're at least peaceful, but you're also prosperous. But it all comes down to this stuff, because if we kind of give in to the circumstance of the world, dude, we're going to drown very quickly. And so what Dominick and I talk about is just what you can do to rise above it.
We knew this too. We knew that there was going to be something. We knew that it didn't matter if it was, what do you call it? I spoke to somebody years ago. We were speaking about the fact that AI was going to come and alleviate people's jobs. So it's going to be like, it doesn't matter if it's AI, it doesn't matter if it's a pandemic, doesn't matter what it is. Eventually something was going to happen where people had to adapt and change. Recognizing, how about this? Giving yourself time to feel in the moment, whether it be panic, whether it be anxiety, whether it be complete stress and worry,
or grief.
Okay, thank you. How? Because my mind is, this is going to be bad. We have to stop on a dime and change right now. I don't think that that's got to be the right way to deal with it. Should people allow themselves time to be worried, scared, all that?
So awesome question, Dominick. So what we're doing is, what's happening right now is change. So when my wife passed in 2016, it was change. It was just the amount of change was more than I could take. right now people are navigating change. So first thing is acceptance. But before acceptance, we're actually grieving change. So people are going to be what? They're going to be upset about it. They're going to be remorseful. They're going to be sad. They're going to be devastated. They're not going to believe it's happening. And they may experience any of those emotions at any time: stress, anxiety, anger, frustration, all that. So you can allow yourself that. But the thing is that it has to have its limitations, because you want to grow beyond it. So you're going to give grace to the change. You're going to give yourself grace for accepting the change, but allow yourself to go through the motions naturally. But watch yourself. Watch how you feel. And if you're angry 12 days in a row because of the election or because of masks or because of the weather, then that's something to check. You go, why am I always angry about this? Maybe I just need to surrender to this so that I can adapt, because there are ways that I can make money. There are ways that I can adapt. There are ways that I could be prosperous. I was just standing at CVS, and it's the checkout counter. It used to be the one big counter with like 5 different registers, and now it's 3 self-checkouts and 2 places for actual human employees. So they're changing. So when I see that, I go, okay, well, then there's got to be a place for humans to rise above that. So AI might fill that in, but that would be like the people who were breeding horses back in the day being like, oh, I'm not buying this whole automobile thing. It's coming or not.
I've said that a million times. I said you have to look at the timber industry back at the turn of the century. You had guys who sharpened axes, right? That was their living. And then the woodsman went out, used the axe in the trees, and then some guy comes along and he invents a chainsaw. Now you don't need as many axemen, and then the axeman sharpers are out of job, but they adapted. They adapted and they changed.
We want that. And also, we're not going to fight it, because somebody's going to advance an idea. And it may be multiple people. Look at us, everything being online now. So you can be left in the back of the pack, being bitter, being angry, being frustrated, but it's not going to get you anywhere except for gobbled up by the predators back there. But you could be at the front of the pack. But it's about mindset and not seeing this stuff as a disadvantage, but as your advantage, and training your mind to be like, all right, I need to look for opportunity here. So I can't travel. I can't do anything. Guess what? I'm doing webinars for way cheaper than I would do in-person speaking engagements now. People are saving money. I get to speak to more people at one time. I don't have to leave the comfort of my own house and get on airplanes and cars and do all that stuff. And I see the beauty. I highlight the good, the pros of my situation, and then I work towards that stuff. And I see myself as an unstoppable force towards success, whatever that may look like in the future. But it's all these principles. But again, Dominick knows me very well. I don't have my thumb or my finger on the pulse of the politics and the elections, all that stuff. It's not that I'm not intelligent, I can't grasp that stuff. It's just not my bag. I am here and I am focused and I'm working harder than ever, making good money, having a good income, and smiling. My fiance and I went to Temecula. We're dancing in the vineyards. We went hiking on the coast yesterday. I'm finding ways to have fun, watching TV on the couch, whatever it is, but I'm uplifting my spirits and I'm staying in my lane. And my lane is helping others right now in the way that I can. But you can find that too. You're like, great, Joe, that's good that you found your place. But what about me? This is where it comes in. You implement meditation. You implement mindfulness stuff. You read a couple self-help books. You start incorporating law of attraction principles. You will find a life that you will never look back upon. And it won't be because of COVID and the government of stressing you out. It'll be you liberating yourself from that. And you will discover something that you just can't even explain to your previous self, because it's so glorious and so beautiful, and so much more.
Guys like us we're fortunate to a degree because we don't have the responsibility. Well, you will, of a wife and children. I don't. So it's very easy for me to sit there and make a hard decision right in the middle of this and go, I refuse to let any of this thing bother me. And I'm going to live as loudly as possible, because life could end tomorrow because of coronavirus, or it could end because I hit by a car. So I'm going to make a conscious decision to do that. You do have the people who are responsible for families, and their actions do echo in the lives of their children. I think it's more important for them to embrace what you're teaching, because they have that responsibility for how it affects the others' lives. Can you talk a little bit about, listen, this is the worst time in history, or one of the worst times in history. We're going to have it again. chalk this up as a practice because it could happen 10 years from now again too. What is the importance of people embracing a change right now for the benefit of their children and from a man's point of view, leading their family the right way?
Yeah, excellent. So when we were working too hard and we were working the 9 to 9s and going and commuting to work and not getting to see our families because we're providing, and the whole point of everything was to be with our family, to grow with them, to guide them, to lead them, to engage with them. Now we have it. And so you can sit there and put that time into your family and show them what it means to be off our tablets, off our cell phones, to be present. Okay, because that's what we have a choice to do here and now, is let's be present with one another. Because before this thing happened, people were checking out left and right. You saw trains and planes filled with people who don't even make eye contact, even with their own family members. You'd see them sitting at dinner for 60 minutes and people aren't even engaging with each other. And there's a 5-year-old with a tablet and 12-year-old and the parents. It's crazy. So now's the time. It's like, well, I think we needed to shake things up in a way that it's a little bit challenging, but we need to shake it up to be like, look at each other, smell each other, hug each other. Oh, you don't want to? Well, now you can't. So we took stuff for granted, and we can come back and we can turn our investment into that. And teaching your children that circumstance is going to fluctuate. The world is going to ebb and flow as the world does, but you have a choice to invest in your mental preparation, in your mental awareness, in your perception, so that you could rise above that. I cannot think of any gift to give a child more than mindfulness and compassion and the principles of law of attraction, because you don't have to be like, oh, I really hope he's a doctor or a famous football player. No, he's going to, or she's going to be so successful and so compassionate in whatever they pursue, because we instilled mindfulness and meditation and law of attraction. And we spent time showing them how to live this, not just telling them and reading about it in books. We lived it out and it became their lifestyle. You can't teach that in class. You can't go have an experience outside of the country living that somewhere else. But from your family, with your siblings and your parents, living that, you don't know any other way to live. So it becomes so natural and so routine that you are never taken off your horse by circumstance. And no matter what, those children they're just cemented in patience and compassion and love and peace and joy. And no matter what they do, they're going to be successful. And guess what? There's going to be insane corruption going on in their world. There's going to be insane government problems. There's going to be pandemics, health related. There's going to be crashes of economies and systems. And if they have a long, fruitful life, they're going to see so much more than we've already seen. Because with a technology age and everything changing, they're going to be able to tell stories we won't be able to comprehend. But they will weather that storm with strength and everything. So as from Dominick's question, being the man of the house, if you will, guiding them, you make it a part of that family routine to be like, we're going to meditate together. I know that sounds crazy, but it's not as crazy as sitting in the same room, not making eye contact and not talking to each other at all whatsoever. We're going to spend the time together. We're going to put our tablets away. We're going to put the electronics away, and we're going to come together as a group, and we're going to learn. We're going to learn together, and this is going to be our life, and this is going to be our future. And guess what? We're going to rise above this time, and we're going to look back and be grateful for COVID. No matter how crazy that sounds, I'm going to look back in my life, and I'm going to be so grateful for 2020 because I grew tremendously and I gained tremendously because of my mind.
It's a big opportunity. I wish people understood it. It does, like, I have to go back to sports, working out, and I'm not the best well-educated person. I actually struggled in school, but anything to work harder is improvement. You work out, It gets harder as you get older. I look back and I have to remind myself I have to learn to love to go into the gym again, because it's not as easy as it was in my 30s and 20s.
Yeah.
And when we trained martial arts, or when I was wrestling and all that, it's like you wanted the harder opponent. When you practiced, when you trained, because that made you better. And it got boring when you're scoring all the takedowns and you're winning all this and that. It's like, okay, it gets boring, but when the challenge comes, it's rewarding. I boxed a little bit, and I boxed the Golden Glove boxer for a Super Cup event years ago. Got my ass kicked, but it was the greatest experience in the world, because I'm like, that is what hard work, skill, and mastery looks like. And I was on the receiving end of somebody else. I don't ever want to be embarrassed again, so you train harder. that being said, it's like I view that the same way with this. It's like COVID, we're all on lockdown, and you got to chill. You got to change the way you make income and change this and master this. This is a great opportunity, but
Absolutely.
I don't know how many people don't embrace the opportunity. And I guess, how can people fall in love with the opportunity and say, listen, I'm terrified, man. I have no idea how I'm going to make money, no idea what's going to happen, blah, blah. Falling in love with an opportunity is so important. How do they do that?
These are great questions. You're on money today. So for that,
it's one of people's biggest worries right now.
I guess you've got your finger on the pulse. So basically, this is exactly what you're going to do. I'm not going to speak in generalities right now. You have to train your mind to get out of the garbage, out of the toxicity. So that means if you are scared and worried and you're sitting there, ask yourself, what am I doing to help my situation? What am I doing to grow out of this? Okay, so I need a clear mind. I need to open myself up to opportunity. When I am scared, I'm fearful of a future. When I have anxiety and stress, or I'm depressed about the situation, you're basically vaulting yourself in. There's no opportunity coming in. It's not even bars of a prison cell. It's a vault, like a bank vault. Nothing is getting in, nothing is getting out. So you're not opening yourself up to opportunity because you're basically entombed in fear. So fear is way up here, negativity, and everything dripples down, goes down, cascades down here, anxiety, stress, negativity, everything from fear. So you train yourself. I have guides on meditation. People think, oh, I want to be chilled and just calm. No, I want to be focused. I want to be the smartest, most intellectual person in the room. I want to be the hardest working. That comes with meditation. I want my thoughts to be
That's so counterintuitive. Because when you think of meditation, you think of chill. I love the fact you're talking about that you can be assertive, almost aggressive in your craft. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Because the thoughts that are coming in my mind, the moment a negative thought comes, it's gone. So that means I am just thinking, eating, breathing, thinking, speaking success, prosperity, peace, whatever I want. So for the people who are having a challenge right now of how do they adapt, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, you got to get into, Bitcoin. No, you're going to do what's good for you, but you can discover that on your own. So you clear your mind. You start meditating. You get yourself kind of healthy. 3 days of doing a clean diet, you're going to feel 100 times better. Getting yourself physically in a good place is the number one step. Incorporating meditation, reading a self-help book or two. I highly recommend The Untethered Soul for people to understand the power of their thoughts and that incessant toxicity that happens to stream through our minds sometimes. Turn that off, and guess what? Crickets. You get clarity, then you get ideas, and you come to your place of heart. When we're talking heart, we're not talking the organ. There is source here. People believe there is God within us, right? It's there. You can access that through meditation. You can go there and spend time, acquaint yourself with that power, that entity, and guess what that entity is going to do? It's going to give you direction. And you're going to feel drawn to something like a magnetic pulse, like gravity pulling you in a direction. So you don't have to figure it out. It's already figured out for you. But you have to tune into that signal. And you can't, because that vault of fear is obstructing that. It's making it impossible for you to tune in there. So when you get rid of that stuff, you're letting yourself out of that vault and you're opening yourself up to receiving signal. It's like a GPS, and it's going to download into yourself, and you're going to have inspiration. You may already have this, like, oh, I've been thinking about becoming a cook again. I may be thinking about like doing this or doing that. And then the doubt will come in and be like, yeah, but, and then that thought goes away. But you were supposed to follow that, but fear obstructed it. So you tune into that, and you'll get this little, like, propelling yourself towards something, and then you'll know how to follow it. I have meditations. I teach on how to make a major decision. When I sit there and I decide if I want to do something, I'll sit in a meditation and I will ask a yes or no question, and I will get inspiration, light, green, like I'll see like green lights, like traffic lights, and I'll feel an energy ripping through my body. And when it's a no, I get a big red X and I feel nothing. And I know, well, I got to pursue this or I don't pursue it. So for people struggling to find their way, you incorporate these spiritual techniques, which are written in the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao, all these other self-help books. They're all over the world. This is nothing of me. You can tune in to your source, your universe, your God within, and find direction. And that will never steer you wrong, because that's exactly where you're meant to be. But fear, or the devil, is going to prevent you from being there every step of the way if you think about the worst stuff that's going to happen, and the anxiety and stress and all those negative emotions that just tear your ambitions down. So you open yourself up. I have steps. All my YouTube videos show you exactly how to do this stuff. Meditation guides. I do webinars for companies. I just got done doing Salesforce, a business, one of their business teams, how to have law of attraction to see yourself successful, how to be mindful at home. So all that stuff is on YouTube to learn that.
Joe Hain, joe-hain.com, H-E-H-N. You have to check it out. And this is a stressful time, but when isn't it stressful? Exactly. And it's making a decision, and that really is what it boils down to. And I think our phones dumb us down from doing the work, because they're smartphones, right? They take away your ability to to read a map or use a calculator. I think they've also taken away your ability to dictate your own life.
And just get off of it. You know, the Instagram, the stuff like that. Dominic and I talked, what was a couple months ago, when you're like, I leave my phone inside. And I go sit in the backyard. Yeah, it's like taking the ball and chain off your ankle.
100%. It makes a massive difference. All right. If you go to joe-hain.com and you subscribe, you get a free ebook for meditation. I strongly recommend. This is now more than ever. This is the time where you have to sit there and take control of yourselves for what's going to come ahead, and steer your ship the way it's supposed to be. Hey, thanks much. And we'll see you next week.